Good morning, everybody. Griff here. David behind the camera. How are you, David?
Dude, doing great. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. I want to take a couple minutes of your day to talk to you about the Teckel Maracker Frog. So what is the Teckel Maracker Frog? The Teckel Maracker Frog is a hollow body frog that has a rattle chamber on the back of it. All right, it has this reflective blade rattle chamber on the back of it. Makes a ton of noise while you're working it. It's got this thudded, like a deep thudded rattle in there. All right, it gets pretty loud as you're working it, and then it vibrates and echoes through that water super loud. How am I working the Maracker Frog? What am I doing with it? When do I bring it out? All that stuff. We'll just take a quick few minutes to discuss that. All right, so you've heard us talk about it. You've seen it in a few other videos. Real quick, we've never really done a full feature on it. So let's talk about it. So the Maracker Frog is just your standard frog body, just like that, and then it has this rattle chamber that sits on a swivel on the back of the frog. Rotates around, so it's never really going to mess up the action of the frog. It's not going to twist it side to side. It's not going to do like pause it. It's not going to do anything crazy to the frog. And then when you're using it in open water, it spins around like a blade or a prop. There it is right there. What I like to do with this is I like to fish it over the junk. Right? It's made to fish over like pads and stuff like that, but in Arizona we don't really have pads to fish it over. So we have to find times when we know that there's fish under something and that we think that we can catch them. So we have this year a weird opportunity. We have a lot of duckweed on the water where I'm fishing at. It doesn't happen every year. It happens every once in a while, but it gets really thick on the top of the water. And then you know how duckweed works. It looks like those tiny little leaves, and then each leaf has like a strain of grass that comes off of it. Gets piled up and it gets super thick underneath there. Great hiding place for these fish. But a regular frog, as you're working it through there, you pretty much can just pull it through it, and it's not really gonna do much. All right, so that's where this one comes into play. The Maracker, you cast it on top of it and you move it, and every time you move it, that blade is going to shake, it's going to move. It doesn't take much movement to get that blade to clacking, all right? And then as you're moving it over top, it's going to spin also, so it's gonna give a little bit more commotion. Not gonna move a ton of water, but it's gonna give the right amount of commotion to get their attention. And then when they hear it, they're either gonna get annoyed by it or they're hungry and they're just gonna come up and they're gonna eat it, all right? So when you're fishing it on top of that, or any kind of junk that's on top of the water, it doesn't necessarily have to be the duckweed. That's just what I got, so that's how I'm using it. So I cast it on top, kind of pull it towards the junk, and I'll just shake it on top of there, small reel ends, and then boom, these fish will just come up and eat it. I also like to just use it as a regular frog. It does walks great, just like any traditional frog. It's gonna walk, that blade's gonna be in the back of there, it's kind of gonna go the opposite way. And then it's gonna walk, it's gonna make a ton of noise. So if you're fishing in dirty water and you just wanna do some open water stuff, boom, boom, it'll get their attention, they'll see the shadow, and then they'll eat it, all right? And then sometimes I'll just cast to trees, work tree lines, and then reel it up. As I'm reeling it in open water, that tail is spinning, kind of like a plopper or a buzz bait or something like that. It's plopping, making the plop noise, and it's making a ton of rattling noise as it's doing it, right? Once I get it to my weed patches or my junk on top of the water, I'll start to work it like that. So I can work it in many different ways on one water system, and then I can work it multiple ways on one cast as I'm casting out there, because those things will be in patches, and then I can work it that way. Another way that I do like to work it is that I like to cast it to the heaviest brush cover that I can find that I know that fish will be in. When you cast a traditional frog that just has the strands on the back, the frog will hang. It's never really gonna lay flat on the water because your line is in the tree. So the frog will hang, and then those strands will kind of just sit on top of the water. Will you get bites? Yeah. Will you get a lot of them? Probably not as many as you should. So if I can get the back of this frog to sit in the water, this rattle chamber, and I can just shake it, it's gonna do a lot of echoing on top of the water, and those fish will come through. And then you just gotta yank on them, get them out of there, and boom, you got yourself a fish catch. Then we have areas here where there's a lot of heavy growth vines and sticks that sit on top of the water. It's just barely on top of the water, but there'll be some holes of just open water in it. I love to cast it on top of there, and I kind of just burn it on top. I'll cast it, I'll burn it on top, get this thing going. Same thing with open water, that blade starts kicking and starts rattling, and those fish, I mean, they can't help themselves. They're coming through it, they're snagging the frog, and then I'm just yanking on them. David, have you ever done any kind of frog fishing?
I've never done frog fishing.
All right. Debatably, frog fishing is probably one of the most exciting ways to catch a fish. All right. It's a total visual thing. So you're not casting, your bait's going under the water, you're using your bait, you wait for that bite. No, you're casting, you're looking at your bait, you're watching every second of it, and then all of a sudden, it's like a toilet bowl flushes, and a fish comes out of the water and sucks it down, and then you gotta yank on it, all right? The way that I am fishing, it does require a full-size frog rod and a heavy rod that can handle pulling those fish out of that cover. So what am I using? I am using the Teckel Frog Game 69. All right. This is a shorter rod, but it's not missing any bit of power than your strongest frog rods. This rod has a ton of power. All right. It's got the right action, so you can work your frog without pulling it 8 feet every time you twitch it. And it's going to walk it, so it's going to pull the line so that you're not pulling it too hard so your frog's doing this. You don't want your frog doing this, that looks weird. You want it doing this. So you slow twitch on the line, and that frog walks, all right? The right action right there. And then it kind of just closes out to pure backbone. Super strong, a lot of power in that. It is shorter, so your accurate stuff, you'll be better at your accurate stuff. So there's that. And then I got it paired with a Steez AII on this one with 85-pound samurai braid, because I am fishing in that heavy stuff. I've got a lot of faith in this samurai braid, and I really like it. Steez AII doesn't hold a ton of line with the bigger braid on there. It is a 100 size reel, but it holds enough, and it has enough power in the casting and in the ability to pull these fish out of there. It is a heavier utility reel than what we're used to. We use a lot of SVs. Not an SV, doesn't like light stuff. It doesn't like doing small things. So when you need something that you can just wrench fish out of heavy stuff, the Steez AII is a great option. As far as colors on the Maracker Frog, there's multiple colors on there. There's going to be a color for anybody. One of my favorite colors is the June bug. All right, it's dark. It's got that green glitter on there with that purple blade on the back of it. There are many colors to choose from. You got your whites, you got your darks, you got your watermelons. Pretty standard Teckel stuff. If you're used to Teckel, all their frogs have all the same colors on them. In a camo, there you go. If you need a gill, there's a gill. And then your whites, obviously. So I would choose the color that works the best for you, whether it be a light color or a dark color. And I want you guys to go out there and have some fun. There's a lot of places that people avoid because they don't, either one, they don't think the fish are in there, but they are. And then two, because they don't have the right equipment, like the right frog. You know, dragging a frog across the top of a pad field or some duckweed or anything like that is really not doing anything. So the little addition of that super loud rattle on the back of that frog, they're going to hear it, they're going to wonder what it is, and they're going to try to put it in their mouth. So
when you go out frog fishing, what do you normally take with you? Are you going out with just your rod?
Yeah, so I like to do at the minimal amount of packing as possible. I don't know whether I'm super lazy about it or I just want to narrow in what I'm doing. So lately I've been taking the rod and then I'll have whatever frog I have tied onto it, and I'll put like a frog or two in my pocket, and that's it. So I'm not doing a ton. These right here are super versatile. I can walk the frog in open water. I can work it over cover, so I never really have to change it. But we are catching so many fish that we will go through multiple frogs in a day. So just in case I need to switch it up, I'm gonna have one in my pocket, maybe two at the most, and then I'm just gonna go out there and I'm going to fish. I'm very specifically going to target the fish this style, so that's what I'm doing. All right, just want to take a couple minutes, talk to you about what I'm doing right now. Recommend that you guys give it a try. It's fun, it's a good way to catch them, and I hope you guys try it out and get on some good fish. All right. So on behalf of everybody here at the Hook Up Tackle, Ben, myself, David, Ethan, everybody here, thank you for your business, thank you for everything, and have a great day.